Hello, everyone. So great to see so many friends here. Thank you very much. So it was the summer between the 6th grade and the 7th grade when I got the phone call. And it was my friend Danny. Turn it up. Fire. Speak up. Is that better? Okay, I'll do this, and then if you just give me this. Great, thank you very much. So it was the summer between my 6th and 7th grades when I got a phone call from my best friend Danny who says, Larry, quick. I know this girl, and she's going to take her top off for us. And I climb on my bicycle, and I fly down the hill as fast as I can, pedaling even when I don't have any traction in my wheels, and come across the river and arrive at the one and only barn there is in the entire universe, and the one and only barn there has ever been. And it's got a hayloft in it. And there in the magic of my youth, the young, beautiful woman undoes her buttons one at a time and then drops off her back. And then she reaches behind her back and works a kind of magic and drops her bra. And suddenly I'm staring at two beautiful full moons on a black, dark night. And that is all there is in the entire world. And I know I'm going to hell, and it is so much fun. The pleasure is so intense, and it was one of those moments in life when you know everything changes for you. Just like when I climbed in a helicopter in 1982 at the Castle Ranger Station, Guard Station in the Payette National Forest in Idaho. And we took off, headed for Williams Peak Lookout, where in 2006 on the same flight, 4 comrades would die on that flight. The lookout was built in 1932. It's a historic lookout. My good friend Steve was in the co-pilot seat. My friend Bob, Vietnam vet, incredible pilot, was in the pilot seat, and another buddy was in the other seat. And when I spontaneously, without even knowing it was coming, this huge fart exploded out of me. It was the smelliest thing you can imagine in the whole world. And Steve goes, "Oh, who did that?" And everybody's going, "Oh, own up, who did it? Who did it?" And I'm just silent. What can I say? I'm afraid to own that. I'm afraid of my body. I'm afraid to own any of this stuff. And I'm on my way to change my life because I'm on my way to the mountaintop. And I want to see God and have a conversation. And it's come to this point in my life where it is either Him or me. I lay in a pile of leaves when I was between the 3rd grade the first time and the 3rd grade the second time, out behind the preacher's house, behind the church, in the alley, between 2 trash cans. And I cried. And I cursed my teacher in school. Even though Mom had said, "You didn't flunk, Larry, we're just going to hold you back. You can go to a different school. You don't have to be ashamed. Nobody will even know you're taking the 3rd grade again." And I knew that was bullshit. It was a small town. And there I cursed Mom and Dad. "I hate you. You're ashamed of me. You don't want me. You don't love me. I don't belong to you. Not really. You're just putting up with me." And I cursed God, and I wanted to die. And I thought about the rope in the garage and the ladder and how I could tie that rope around the beam in the garage and kick the ladder out from under me and do it. And then I went to the 1st grade, 3rd grade, the second time. And on the first day of school, we were marched to, it was like a teacher said, "Come on, everybody out from 2 classes," and we were marched down to a big auditorium. And then she says, "Form 2 lines, girls in one and boys in the other." And so we're doing this, and it's chaotic. I'm out of my element. And suddenly I'm standing across from this beautiful little blonde-headed girl with a ponytail that reaches all the way to her butt. And the teacher's saying, reach out your hand and take the hand of the person across from you. And I reach my hand out, and this little girl reaches her hand out and touches mine, and she looks into my eyes. Nobody's ever looked at me like that before. She smiles. Nobody's ever smiled at me like that before. And the teacher walks down into the auditorium from the hallway by the principal's office, and she says, she's waving a piece of paper, and she says, Larry Glover. Where's Larry Glover? I have a note. You're excused from dancing. Dancing is against Larry's religion. And I slink off to the side of the room and open one of the steel metal folding chairs and sit down and feel everybody's eyes staring at me. And I'm red and burning up. And I still wanted to make friends. I didn't want people to know I was the PK, the preacher's kid. I just wanted to have friends. And so I went to the lookout to get as high in the Forest Service as I could after 5 years of fighting forest fires. And Steve, when he learned that my buddy in the helicopter had learned initially that I was going to take the lookout job and a demotion, he started telling me lookout stories that I'd never heard before. Like the one about the lookout who called in one day and said, I need to get out of here. Pick me up. He said, we can't. It's fire season. Don't have a replacement. He called the next day, begged to get out. We can't. A few days later, they hadn't heard from him on his daily call-in. They decided to fly up and do a checkout. They drank the drain on me. Told me another story about a lookout who did the same kind of scenario. Called in, I got to get off this. I got to get out of here. Can't. It's fire season. So don't hear from him for a few days. And they do the helicopter fly up, and hanging off the rafters of the lookout is what appears to be a body. They land the helicopter, of course, and running out of the lookout is the man with his backpack. It's like, I'm out of here. So lookouts are a different kind of man, Steve says. Different kind of breed. Well, I took enough substances with me to help me on that journey. I think, you get resupplied every 2 weeks if things were good, and 3 weeks it could go 4. So I had in my first fly-in, a couple bottles of Jack Daniels and probably 4 cases of beer or something like that, enough marijuana and other substances to take off. Some mornings on my days off, I'd start the morning off with a shot of tequila and wash a hit of acid down with it. And then came a very momentous day and night. Because during all this time I was journaling and writing and trying to understand, where does this darkness in me come from? What is the source of this self-hatred? Take me to it. I want to see this. And I'd made some peace with my mother and father, but I had not made peace with this God who was sending so many people to hell and who was threatening me. And so, on this day, the clouds began building early and dark. And as the day progressed, they had not yet released. And so by evening, it was like getting so close, the tension was in the air, and it was time, and I knew it was too late to call in any fire strikes, and so I took the mushrooms and smoked and washed them all down. And then the lightning broke, and the rain hit like bullets. And I'm in heaven because the power of nature is so intense. The power of nature being unleashed before me is just growing and growing and building. And pretty soon the thunder is continuous, and the lightning is so strong it's like daylight. And I'm outside jumping up and down in the rain, except the rain hurts too much because of the bullets. And so I go under the eaves of the lookout, and I'm jumping up and down because it's so magnificent. And I'm filled with awe and wonder. And then I'm screaming, I'm trying to understand, God, who are you that would do this? Are you real, this God of my youth? I want to talk to you. And I'm trying to call out and invoke Jehovah of my youth. And there in the sky before my eyes, I begin to see his face. And he's illuminated as the lightning goes on. And I'm going, Larry, you're freaking crazy. This is not real. There's no way for this to be real. And I know I'm hallucinating, but are you real? And I'm dropping deeper and deeper inside. And then it's like, yeah, you are real, aren't you? You live inside of me. You live inside of me as I give you life. You live inside of me as I believe in you and give you power. And you're real because you're a living force through humanity's history. And it's like, I'll give you, you can take my soul, but I will not give you my heart. You can take my life, but I will not give you my love. Not if you're going to send all these people to hell. And why are you feeding off of human energy? And why are you feeding off of human fear? And the conversation goes on, but to bring it down quick in some synopsis, suddenly it's like I can feel I'm standing in a liquid pool of something. And I become aware that the hairs on my arms are rising up, and I just get the hell, and I bolt for the lookout door and dive inside onto the rubber mat just as this lightning strike goes kaboom, you know? And it hits the lookout, and I'm on my rubber mat. And the night goes on, and finally I'm able to put myself to bed, trying to fall asleep. And I look towards the door because there's noise there. And walking through the door is this Hindu god figure with 6 arms, and a sword in one hand and a shield in the other. And I know I'm crazy, and I know he's real. And I stand up to look and make sure. It's like, this is not real. And then he sets the sword down, and then the shield, and he jumps me. He just jumps me out of nowhere. It's like, I didn't do anything, and we're fighting and wrestling on the floor. And he finally gets my head in a headlock, and he's twisting my head around so that I know he can snap my neck with one little twist. And he says, do you want to live? And I say, as best I can, I want my life. And he releases the hold and gets up and leaves. I wake the next morning, and I'm black and blue all over and sore. And finally, some 30 years later, I get a phone call from Danny again out of the middle of the night, 3 a.m. And he says, Larry, I saw you at your mother's funeral. You didn't bow your head, did you? During prayer. You know you're killing your parents. You're breaking their hearts. And I said, Danny, you can't talk to me this way. And hung up. About 2 minutes later, or 2 years later, he called again one night at 3 a.m. And he said, first thing before anything else, Larry, I'm sorry what I said the last time. He said, I'm scared, Larry. I'm scared. I'm afraid of God. And I'm afraid I'm going to hell. And I said, Danny, I don't believe in that God anymore. And you don't have to either. Thank you.